What is up, RotoGrinders? An hour until we lock for tonight's 4-gamer. It's not exactly crunch time. It's not exactly Grinders Live. It's an extended version of crunch time and a shortened version of Grinders Live, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, you got me for an hour. Myself, Kyle Murray, Head Chopper, and we're gonna do it a little bit different because we have an hour and not a half hour that we typically crunch time has. So we'll go game by game, and then we'll circle back and we'll give our favorite plays position by position. Yes, do as producer Steve says. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Wish Steve a happy vacation as well. This is his last show. I think it's his last show until he goes on vacation until tomorrow. So yeah, there you go. What's up, chat? Hey, hit that like button. Do subscribe and turn on those notifications and join the conversation. It's Kyle Murray. It's Chop. We just had Kevin Huerter. Huerter officially ruled out for the Bulls. The big one here in the slate, it is Ant. Ant Edwards is officially questionable right now. Jaime Jaquez was upgraded to probable earlier in the day. The other big piece of information that we're waiting for, Nembhard is questionable. We'll know that at some point, maybe 6:30, give or take, about 25 minutes or so. Nembhard questionable for the Pacers. And Darius Garland's 8 o'clock game, an hour after Indiana Charlotte. So we might not know it, but Garland, he's got a hand. So he's questionable. Larry Nance upgraded to questionable. Not sure how much that matters, but just of note, we haven't seen him in a while. Dean Wade is out with his knee. Jalen Tyson officially in with his illness. Chop, happy Thursday. How are things? I know you're excited about the college football tonight. We were talking a little bit about that pre-show. This is your turf. Maybe we'll give out some props as well. If we get enough likes. I did see Kyle write some stuff up on scores and odds. And I imagine, yeah, I think it was more NBA though, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it, Dan Bach, DB, wrote something up for in the scores and odds actually. Like he picked one of the I don't know, one of the Miami receivers like over 9 yards or something.
It's a Miami running back, Dean.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I guess I should have figured that out. Only 9 yards, but somebody to receive the ball for 9 yards or more. But I did bet it over blindly and on the underdog. But yeah, Chop, do we have any football takes tonight before we dive in and talk about tonight's 4-gamer in the association?
I'm excited, Dean. I'm excited. I like this game a lot more than tomorrow, just in general for viewing, purposes, because I think tomorrow could really be a defensive battle. But tonight, I think we get some offense tonight. Knock on wood. And I know everybody's on Miami, and the Miami defense is so great and all that. I kind of think Ole Miss is gonna find some ways to really put some things together tonight, Dean. And I think they might pull the upset, Dean. I'm kind of on that train right there. I think Ole Miss. What I think is going to happen, Dean, if I had to play it out in my head, is I think they just go at hyper speed as much as possible. Ole Miss, kind of like they did against Georgia, they just go ahead and eat the fact that they're going to make mistakes. They did a fumble, pick up 6. I don't know what do you call a fumble that's returned for? Not a pick
score.
Scoop and score. They had a scoop and score. They're running fast paced. Things happened like that last week against Georgia. It's going to happen again. But if you execute it properly, you get to the second half, and all of a sudden people start wearing down on that defense, and that Ruben Bain and Mesidor and all those pass rushers a lot slower in the second half, and boom, Ole Miss, and then they become a juggernaut on offense. That's kind of the way I see it playing out. So I'm rolling with Ole Miss tonight, man.
And Kiffin, I think, is like rooting him on publicly. Is he? He's legit?
Oh God, no. He's praying for a loss.
He's rooting against them. But these are guys he recruited, probably guys he likes, right?
No, he doesn't like any. I could almost assure you, Dean, there's like nobody that he really likes there. He's a very selfish person.
Okay.
No, he's a very selfish guy.
Okay.
I think he's very fake, unauthentic. And I think everything is just for show. And like, he's just, the only purpose for those kids for him is recruiting and winning football games or making him more money. So I don't think he particularly likes any of them. And he doesn't dislike them, but I don't think he likes any of them. And so I think he's kind of looking at it like, oh man, they might win, and I'm not even going to get credit for it because I was the loser who stepped away. So I think he's certainly hoping for their downfall tonight, but I think he's got another thing coming, man. He might have sparked them, D. He might have sparked
them. Though? These are the guys. These are the kids he recruited.
Of course he will. Of course he will. But that's what he'll do. That's what he'll try to do. But deep down, I think everybody knows. And to be honest with you, Dean, I want to go out on a limb here. If Kiffin was coaching this team, if he had never gone to LSU, I don't think they're still alive.
Oh, wow.
I actually think that having him gone, the OC, Charlie Weiss Jr., I think that kind
of the old Notre Dame coach's kid is the OC. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's very good. I think that the new head coach, Pete Golding, who's a defensive guy, kind of told him, okay, that's your thing now. The offense is your thing. Whereas Lane Kiffin had a hand in everything. Now and Charlie Weiss very good. So he turned the offense over to Charlie Weiss. Defensively, your head coach is now your former defensive coordinator is now your head coach. So the defense got better. And it did get better. So I think kind of like low key, the move made them better. So I don't know, man. I think I like Ole Miss here. And I definitely want him to win. I want him to hoist the trophy, and I want him to rub it in Lane's face because I'm not particularly a big fan of Lane and the way he acts.
Is that so producer Steve also said he definitely doesn't want him to win. I was going to say, make that today's poll question. Does everybody just assume Lane is secretly rooting against him? You have a take on this, Kyle? You follow the college football streets before we fully dive in as far as the 4-gamer?
I don't have too much to take. I will say I did read a tweet earlier today that I don't know if it's true or not, but he still gets contract incentive stuff if they do win. So I mean, I guess that would be a reason for him to root for them.
What's $1 million to him? I mean,
I mean, it's still $1 million. I think.
But the funny part about that is LSU is the one paying for it.
Oh. Okay.
So Ole Miss doesn't even have to pay those incentives because he quit, but LSU was like
they're definitely rooting against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Not that they have $1 million lying around LSU. I think they're gonna be fine.
But I will say I am rooting for Ole Miss because the quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, he came from Ferris State, which is a Michigan school. It's like a D2. They're like the D2 dynasty. So that's kind of a cool story that he was, just an hour and a half, 2 hours north of me, and obviously went to Ole Miss and now has making a pretty good run. So that's kind of who I'm rooting for, but nothing like overly invested for me.
4-gamer tonight. By the way, questions are prioritized in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. We're going to get questions before we step aside. We have 50 minutes to talk about tonight's 4-gamer. Plenty of time. Again, Darius Garland is the big one. Him and Anthony Edwards are currently questionable, as is Nembhard. But we're going to get Nembhard at some point on this show because that's the first game. Pacers, Hornets. Kyle, you have a screenshot, just an overall, how we're targeting this slate. I don't think it's great. A lot of Dallas is hitting optimal stuff. A lot of Dallas. We're assuming Washington's out. I'm not sure if he's officially been ruled out, but he's been doubtful all day. That seems like a fair presumption. And, of course, they're taking on Utah, which I guess we can address now, Kyle. Utah, in the tankathon, they're only 2 games ahead, meaning they have 2 more losses than Dallas. They want to lose this game. 3rd game in 4 nights, back-to-back, travel, overtime last night. Markkanen played 40 minutes, and he's not even on the injury report. Like that, I still, what? Nurkic is questionable. I assume he's out, but I can't believe Markkanen's not even on the injury report. I just assume he's not playing, but I guess right now we have to assume he is playing. Do you have a read on that?
Yeah, I mean, the books were also assuming that Markkanen and Nurkic were going to sit. I think they're still assuming that Nurkic is going to sit. So, I mean, obviously, like the way that we kind of operate projections-wise, unless we get like some sort of report or something like that that makes a player seem more doubtful than questionable, we usually leave them in, especially because we have the if-then projections in there. So, we are expecting Markkanen to play right now just because he's not on the report. So it seems unlikely that he's just going to pop up and all of a sudden be out, although anything can happen. But we are also thinking that Nurkic is probably more likely to sit, probably closer to doubtful than he is actually questionable. Filipowski, his PRA line opened at 21.5 today. It's now at 17.5. So that's a massive drop. That's a change that you don't really see all that dramatically. And it happened within 3 or 4 hours. Kevin Love still has a decent PRA line. So it seems like maybe Nurkic is likely to sit. But yeah, right now we're gonna assume that Markin is playing because he's still not even on the report, which is definitely strange. I would not have guessed that, but that's what we have right now.
Yeah, it is, and that's the last game, which is why I ask.
Yeah.
And I still don't think he's playing. I feel like, I don't want to say definitely, but like you're saying, Nurkic feels really more doubtful than questionable. Like that seems pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
We do have an if-then setup. I think we have Love getting some run, right? And Filipowski, because he could play the 4 as well. I think we have Love starting, right? Is that what we have? Are we kind of chopping minutes?
Yeah, we'd have Love starting. And I think we have him at like 22 minutes. And maybe even has a little bit upside for a few more there. But yeah.
Yeah, we have 22 for Love and 24 for Filipowski. But again, that's nothing to do with marketing because marketing's not even on the injury report. So we'll see. Or we won't. Not at lock, probably. Pacers, Hornets, 232.5. That's the total. The Pacers are 4.5-point dogs here versus the Hornets. Hornets playing the back half of a back-to-back. They're really babying LaMelo as far as his minutes, but he is expected to play in the back half of a back-to-back. So I guess that's something. Cockbrenner is still out. Plum Dog is still out. Brandon Miller is good to go with his knee. Salon's available with his ankle. As far as the Pacers, again, we mentioned Nembhard is questionable. Isaiah Jackson is out. Matherin is out. Chop, Pacers, Hornets, thoughts, and what is the plan if we lose Nembhard?
Then you fire up TJ McConnell like all day, every day, man. He'd definitely be my favorite play on the whole slate if we lost Nembhard. Just because TJ knows how to rack up those fantasy points for you, and if he gets that extra run like that, then you're golden. If not, then I still think Nembhard's a fine. I mean, if Nembhard's in, you got to assume a full role for him. I mean, you assume that, and then that makes him fine. That makes him perfectly acceptable on a small slate. We're kind of just looking for raw points tonight. Who's going to get the raw points? If Nembhard plays, he's going to get a good projection and he's going to get good points. So will Siakam. I think Siakam's the best Indiana play if everybody is healthy that's supposed to be healthy tonight. Siakam's got that kind of a game, so that nice projection for him. Neesmith's okay. Not a huge fan at 5,700. Charlotte side, Diabate is going to be a pretty decent value piece tonight on a small slate. Knipple's fine. I would say Brandon Miller's a really good play. I think is he questionable? We don't know about Miller.
He's in. He's good to go.
He's in. Miller's really good. Like just as far as real life basketball, that's just a side note. That guy's really good. So, but he's a good fantasy player too. Definitely fire him up in his matchup. Like Miles Bridges too. LaMelo, 79 is a bit pricey for, the second night of a back-to-back on a guy who's I don't know. That's probably not the route I would take. But and then you could throw in some Colin Sexton as a bit of a value play too. I think tonight I don't know that right now that there's any overwhelming value play. So all these guys like Sexton are in play. And so, yeah, this game is not bad. It has some good pieces to it.
You mentioned Moose. He's one of my favorite plays in the slates. Love the matchup here against the Pacers. The Pacers give up the most rebounds to opponents amongst all the teams in the association. They give up the 4th most points in the paint, and that's where Moose lives, right? He scores 75% of his points in the paint. Feel pretty good about him getting a double-double, and I did bet his over on rebounds today, so hopefully that gets home. One thing that was interesting, and I'll talk to Kyle about this because he might have actually set this up. If we lose Nembhard, and we typically see like McConnell, he always seems to get less minutes than we want. We're only projecting 23, which is only 3 more. He's fine right now at 20. He's fine, just kind of nature of the slate. Those 3 minutes do matter, but he's not getting a huge boost. Was that you, Kyle? Did you set that up? And I think that's about right as a median projection.
That one was not me. That was Jim Turvey, who was on the day slate. But yeah, I do agree. Like McConnell, I'll certainly get a bump, like you mentioned, 3-minute bump for us in the projections if Nembhard is out. But they've been pretty careful about him, regardless of more opportunity or not. We've seen it a couple times already. So he would still be a solid play because we know how efficient he can be on a permanent basis. And then when you take a guy off like Nembhard, who not only has a high assist rate or high usage rate, but also a high assist rate. So that's kind of the bread and butter from McConnell as well. So he'll benefit not only from a few extra minutes, but also added touches with ball handling opportunities and stuff like that. And also, I think the fact that he'll be able to play alongside some more starters and whatnot, and maybe have some higher quality shots off of those potential assists, I think also goes a long way for McConnell.
By the way, it's been a month since the Pacers have won. They've lost 13 in a row. Their last victory was against the Kings. So does that even count? They beat Sacramento on December 8th. Kyle, you touched on the Charlotte? Kyle?
Yeah.
Oh, did you touch on Charlotte?
No, not
Okay.
fully. I do share a lot of sentiment with Chop there. I think Knipple's a guy that I like quite a bit in the spot. Diabate obviously is a very good value play. His minutes have been solid with no Kalkbrenner, and then Brandon Miller. So those three guys are the names that Chop highlighted the most. So I think those are the guys that I would prefer as well. Sexton is the guy who I have my eye on as like a potential tournament play. We know that he's not going to see a ton of minutes, but with LaMelo Ball still seemingly capped minutes wise, there is some hope to see maybe 22, 23 minutes for Sexton. That might be on the high end of the projection, but still a guy who can go out there and score 14, 15 points instead of a guy who's lacking a ceiling off the bench. So on a 4-game slate like this, he's not a bad option as a tournament play.
See Kirkwood in chat. Does he have a finger? What's going on with him? He's got a finger. He's got an issue. You know what's going on here, Chop?
Well, Dean, I don't know about this particular injury, but I do know respectfully, and I don't want to violate his HIPAA. But,
yeah, sure. Well, he's kind of.
But he has a history of some really bad hemorrhoids. I don't know if that's what's going on or not.
Oh, okay.
That's related to a finger injury.
Yeah,
it's very well could be.
There could be some correlation there for sure.
I don't think he was speaking on that, so that might have been a violation, actually.
Whatever. Take it up with my lawyer.
Producer Steve, if you want to rewind the tape and erase that, then I did not mean that.
Anything else here as far as Pacers, Hornets, boys? Anything we want to stress in this game, Kyle, before we move on?
I mean, last time I was on the show, we had the hilarious Jay Huff randomly starting over Micah Potter incident. So that could be flip-flopped again. Obviously, we went with Huff starting because that's who started last game. But you never really know with the Pacers. They like to keep us on our toes with whoever's starting at center. And Jay Huff came in, I think, played 31 minutes as a starter last game. So worth at least confirming that lineup. I will probably have interest in whoever is starting at the center position for them. And then McConnell highlights things for me. If Nembhard does go out, Neesmith, spoiler, I know we touched on props. I took an under on him, so kind of hoping Nembhard does end up playing, but that would help him and Siakam as well as McConnell if Nembhard's out.
Yeah, the Huff, The Pacers find many different ways to lose basketball games, so good for them. They did also, they dropped Tony Bradley and they re-signed Tony Bradley. I guess he got a 10-day. They committed to him just for 10 days. Cavs, Minnesota. There's 2 8:00 games. That's the first one we're going to talk about. 236.5. That's the total here. Some lack of clarity because, by the way, Minnesota is a 2-point favorite here. The lack of clarity is that we don't know about Ant. Edwards has got that foot, so he's questionable. Otherwise, everybody's healthy. That's of note and good to go for the Cavs. We haven't seen Nance in a while. He's questionable with his calf. Jalen Tyson is over his illness. He's officially probable. Dean Wade has a knee, so he's not playing basketball tonight. And Darius Garland's got that hand. Hopefully he doesn't have what Kirky has. He's questionable as well. Kyle, Cavs, Minnesota, what do you got?
Yeah, this game, it does have a decently high total and a tight spread, so I would probably have expected to have more interest, but it's just kind of a spot where on the Cleveland side, they're going up against a Minnesota defense that's really tough. And obviously with Mitchell being back after, being out, you have a couple of guys whose prices, I wouldn't say they're extremely high for that, but obviously Mobley and Garland both had fine games last time out. So they have a little bit of a of a price bump. I think Mobley was in the mid 7s last game, and now he's at 8K. Garland was like 7-1. Now he's 7-6. So I don't want to say they're priced where you can't play them, but they are certainly priced up a bit, and now they're in a tough matchup. So kind of, not a ton of interest there. I think my favorite Cavaliers player is going to be Jared Allen here at 6K. I think he's just a little bit underpriced. They should rely on him from a minutes perspective because of the fact that they're going against pretty big Minnesota team with Gobert and Randall and even Naz Reid on the floor. Usually 2 of those 3 guys are on the floor quite a bit, so they might need Allen's size a bit more. So we could see him play 29, 30 plus minutes in this spot. So he's probably my favorite Cav option. I mean, I don't love Donovan Mitchell here, but we know he can go out there and have a big game even in a tough matchup. So I can't really hate on the play, but he's certainly not my favorite option on the board. And on the other side, Gobert is also probably my favorite play for the same reason why I like Allen. I think those two actually correlate pretty well to where if they are in a spot where they're trying to match up against each other, we could see bigger minutes for each of those guys. So like both the centers in this spot, Anthony Edwards is questionable, but if he goes, he's going to have that high minute ceiling of 36, 37, maybe even 38 minutes in a close game. So we prefer Edwards over Mitchell, and then I like the 2 centers in this game.
If Ant is out, Randall gets a pretty nice boost. He would be a pretty strong value on both DK and on FanDuel. You mentioned Allen. That was worth noting. He saw a nice little minute spike last game. He's hovering like 27, 28, begging to get 30 of late, and he got 34 minutes last time out. Not sure if that's a sign of what's going forward, but like you said, it's a good matchup to probably get some more minutes, assuming, barring wonkiness of blowout, foul trouble, that kind of stuff. Chop, Cavs, Minnesota, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle kind of touched on the main points here, and I agree with most of it. I would only add that, so Gobert versus Jared Allen, I think, like he said, they kind of maybe keep each other on the court a little bit more here in a classic in the paint battle for 2 big guys. So for that kind of makes Gobert my favorite Minnesota play if I had to pick one. Even though I don't love this game in general, like the most highly owned guy in this game might get up to around 20%, and none of these guys are really hitting the optimals too much. So it's not like some big ownership game. But if you twist my arm, Gobert on the Minnesota side, probably my favorite play. And I think because Allen is going to square off with Gobert, maybe that lets Mobley have a little bit more freedom on the perimeter against a weaker defender. And so Mobley would be my favorite Cavalier guy.
Our guy Lippy in chat says thoughts on DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo, I think he becomes more appealing if Ant does not play. Is that kind of where you're at as well, Chop?
Yeah, definitely. Like if Ant doesn't play that, then we go ahead and scratch everything. We start over with Minnesota. That's a big thing. So we're assuming he's in. And if he's in, I mean, it's a 4-game slate, so you could play DiVincenzo. If it was a 8-game slate, I wouldn't even be looking at it with Anthony Edwards in and everybody else in. But it's a 4-gamer, so you can. I just don't think there's much of a. Yeah, I mean, you might meet your value at 5,900, but you're not going to exceed it by very much in GPPs.
Just like general big spends, Chop, on this slate, it didn't sound like you're big into this game. You have Mitchell, likely Ant. We'll talk about Davis in a second because he's the biggest projected player on the slate by double digits, almost close to it. Has that changed? Yeah, double digits on FanDuel. I think close to 10 as well on DK. Is that is that a sign? Are we going to prioritize Anthony Davis against Utah? It sounds like that's what we're doing.
Oh man, I think so.
Yeah.
But we'll get into those games. But I think so. I think that's a pretty good spot because it's the highest owned guy on the slate, but so many ways you can get different elsewhere. So I'm okay with that.
Let's knock out Miami, Chicago first. 237.5. That's the total. Miami's a 7-point favorite in Chicago as far as who's in and out in this one. Bam Adebayo, he's good to go with his back. Tyler Hero, he's fine. Available with his big toe. Jaime Jaquez was upgraded today with his ankle. Jovic is available. He's got a groin. He's going to play with it. He's available. He's good to go. And Pelly Larson also has that ankle. He's available. Miami is really, really healthy, which to me is makes them not that appealing on the whole. Norman Powell also available. Any major injuries? Not really. Drew Smith available just for fun. They don't really have anybody that's out. Like they're fully healthy for the Heat. As far as the Bulls, Still no Josh Giddey's out. Herter's out. Jalen Smith out. And Zach Collins. So they're thin on bigs. We've seen Vuk absolutely smash of late. Kyle, do you agree? Like Miami, it's just now it's going to be it's not going to be as tight as far as their rotations. They have more pieces. And when Spoelstra has more pieces, they're less predictable. So I don't really like the Heat tonight, despite, generally you like to pick on the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree that the rotation isn't all that appealing right now. You're probably going to see guys maxed out at like 32 minutes. I mean, maybe if the game stays really close, maybe we'll see a few extra, but we're not expecting a ton of minutes from any of these guys really. But it is a really good matchup. So I do like guys like Powell and Bam, especially if you're, obviously we'll talk about Anthony Davis later, but we've kind of been uninterested in some of the spend ups later. And I think that's going to result in a lot of ownership on Anthony Davis, which, yeah, that's always a fun thing to do, especially when you get that locker room tweet.
Over under second quarter.
Yeah. And I mean, it's obviously Anthony Davis looks like a great play and he's going to be the de facto spend up option. But if you're not playing him, you're likely either playing one of the other guys in that Minnesota Cleveland game, Edwards or Mitchell that we talked about. But if you don't like them, you're sort of forced into a mid-tier build with a lot of these 7 to 8K guys. And if that's the case, Bam and Norm are certainly guys that I will have in the player pool. Probably won't play Tyler Hero because of the fact that just like Norm Powell and Bam more. But after that, not a ton of interest for me. It kind of runs out of exposure really quick after Bam and Norm Powell.
CW asked thoughts on Ware. It's like, Ware's like, you like him when players are out. You like him when he has clear paths. And I just don't like him tonight because the price is not adjusted to it's a newer role or a role that's not as big as it was. So I think he's a bad play, even though go ahead.
I will say the one thing about Ware, we've talked about this on small slates before. Like, I think back to like the Mark Williams play on that 3-game slate or whatever it was. That is what Khalil Ware is, where if he only plays 23 minutes, he can put up 40 DK points. So I was just like, as you brought his name up, I kind of thought about it a little bit more. But so I would agree that he probably doesn't project as a good play. But in tournaments, he certainly still has upside, even in limited minutes, which is things you can chase more so on a small slate like this.
So Pacers, Nembhard, game time decision. What time do the Pacers think they're playing? Game time decision. They're playing in a half hour. This is bullshit. You're supposed to drop your lineup now. You can't tell us game time decision.
He's out now.
Okay, well, yeah. What is that?
They saw that you were raging. They said, I was skimming the news now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't game time decision. That's from an hour ago. We know how the clock works there.
Yeah.
Chop, what do you got as far as the Heat and the Bulls?
Yeah, I would say that is Nembhard listed as out. Yep. I kind of same thing. So Kyle mentioned Khalil Ware, GPP play. All these guys are basically GPP plays, but it's a short slate, so that kind of keeps it wide open. Now I agree that normally I'm not sitting here when the Miami Heat's fully healthy. I'm not into Norman Powell and Tyler Hero, but tonight in this matchup on a small slate like this, these are excellent GPP plays. Especially Norman Powell. I want a 3-point shooter here against Chicago tonight, and Powell and Hero. Hero's a little bit more limited in the minutes, but Powell, either one of those guys could get hot from the 3-point range. That's where I'm at for GPPs. You want to run it back, I think my favorite play would certainly be Bazelis. That's, 6K. You get a pace-up game. The weird thing about Miami is you do get a lot of extra possessions when you play them this year, but their defensive efficiency in general is not bad. Like, it's good. It's just you just get extra possessions, and so maybe a guy like Bazelis can thrive in that. But definitely Norman Powell, man, or Tyler Hero. But again, Powell's going to get more minutes probably. Powell just screams really good GPP play tonight. 3-point, if he gets hot from 3-point range, man, he can carry you.
Kyle, how confident are you that Ware starts tonight? Because I can see Hero jumping in that lineup.
Yeah, I think it'll depend on if they want to keep limiting his minutes. I think it's 60-40 right now because they do seem to want to be careful about Hero with obviously 2 games ago he was good to go, but they were going to give him another day off. He was active but not playing. And then last game I only played, I think, 28 minutes. So Still kind of thinking that they limit him, and maybe for that reason they keep him off the bench. But I would not be surprised at all if Hero got back in the starting lineup and they pushed Bam down to the 5.
That was the game against Minnesota. They lost by like 30 or so. So I imagine you played 29 minutes in a game where they lost by 28.
Yeah.
You played 34 before that. Never mind. 34 was a month before. That his first game back, he played 29, but that's in blowout. So I assume he's kind of fully back. I'm guessing. I don't know. But 29 in a blowout seems like a lot to me. Okay. Let's knock out this last game. We'll circle back as far as the Pacers and see how projections are changed. Dallas, Utah, 241.5 is the total here, Chop. Dallas, biggest total on the board. Big favorite here against Utah. I shouldn't say big favorite. 6-7 point favorite. We talked about the cloud of the Jazz earlier. Despite it being the back half of a back-to-back, despite it being travel, despite it being the third game in 4 nights, despite them wanting to lose to Dallas because they're battling for tankathon stuff. I assume Dallas pulls away, but just in case, we have no sign of Markkanen on the injury report. He played over 40 minutes last night. Just weird. Ace Bailey's questionable. Nurkic is questionable. We're assuming, we're leaning that's more doubtful. We don't know this, but the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and past behavior suggests Nurkic would not play this game. PJ Washington, doubtful for Dallas. Brandon Williams, probable. They had a different lineup last time, and we're projecting again. Neither Williams or Nembhard was starting. It was Flagg, Christie, Marshall, Davis, Gafford, Chop, Dallas, Utah. What do you got?
Yeah, Dallas is clearly the most heavily owned team on this slate. And if you're just sitting there making lineups and lineup HQ or whatever, you're going to get a lot of Mavericks in your lineups. Like, your lineups are going to be filled with 3, maybe 4 Maverick players. So my take for GPPs was that I'll probably cap them if I'm playing large field and only take a couple of them and don't worry about all that other stuff because they're all like jumping out with value. But Anthony Davis is obviously good. He's the one guy. It'd be hard to get away from him just because it's a small slate and his projection is so good and price tag is so good. The matchup is good and all that good stuff. So he jumps out. I love, hey, listen, we talked about this before on the show, Dean. Last time we were in Utah. Cooper Flagg.
Oh, boy, here it is. Kyle has not heard this before. Let's see if Kyle can figure it out. Chop, go ahead. Tell him it's what it is, and don't tell him the reason why, but it's a narrative game.
Yeah, it's a narrative. Cooper Flagg in Utah the same way, last week it was, I forget who was it, Dean, in Utah last week?
I don't know, Dante DiVincenzo or somebody.
No, heck no, I wouldn't do. In fact,
why would that be a narrative game, Kyle?
In fact, DiVincenzo is anti-narrative in Utah. If you catch my drift,
is Cooper Flagg Mormon or something?
No, that's a good guess.
Close enough. It's Utah. It's Utah, man.
Oh, it was the Bulls. I think it was the Bulls. Because no, it was Boston because Derek White. Actually, Derek White.
It was Peyton Pritchard.
Peyton Pritchard. Yeah.
He had a good game. It was Peyton Pritchard. He had a good game. Yeah, Cooper Flagg's got that narrative working for him tonight.
So is it white boys in Utah?
Yeah, the Utah, because the refs got a real nice whistle for the white. They know their audience. You know what I'm saying? They know their audience. They're not about to get run out of that stadium.
Refs don't care about the audience.
By the way, did you see that whistle last night for friggin' Avia? Oh yeah, there in Portland. He's a foul baiter, but he's good though, man.
Denny Avdia, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe. But how did Washington let him go? Washington just traded for Trae Young,
and they're going to sit him down. Apparently, they're going to put him on ice.
Well, yeah, they have to. Dude, they don't get to keep their pick if they're out of the top 8. They have to.
Why you trade for him if you're just going to sit him down?
I don't know. Maybe they think there's something. I don't know. Oh, the salary. I think they get salary.
Is that great? It's like
I think they get to dump that salary a lot faster than they would have. But yeah, how do you let Avia, man? He's really good. How do you let guys like that, with all the advanced scouting we have now, guys like that walk out of your building, man?
It also says a lot about Trae Young's trade value. That's the best they can do. It's like, and he's always been like a bigger name than actual like worth as far as getting wins. But they got McCollum. Okay, he's fine.
No, but it was a salary dump, that's for sure. But it's fine. I just wanted to. But anyway, yeah, in Utah, Cooper Flagg. I mean, he's just I remember the first couple of weeks when people were like, "Oh, this guy's a bust." Man, this guy's so good. He's going to contribute to winning championships on the right team. You just got to maybe get him out of Dallas or something. But he's great. And then comes all the value plays. I'm going to limit these guys, like maybe one of these guys. I don't want multiple. Brandon Williams, Najee Marshall, Max Christie, whatever. I'll take one of them combined with Anthony Davis or combined with Cooper Flag, but I don't want multiple value Dallas guys. So singularly, they're fine. I don't want them bunched up in there. Utah, like, I do think everything you've been saying, Dean, is spot on. I think there's a lot of unknown tonight. It would have surprised you if Markkanen played limited minutes and we didn't even know it. It wouldn't surprise me if any of this stuff happened, or if you built your lineups and that's the last one, that's the last game on the board by an hour, and then all of a sudden you get the late news and you can't even really do much with it. So I'm kind of like not on the Utah train very much, but twist my arm. Keontae George is always fine, but that's where I'm at with not a lot of love for Utah. Do like Dallas a lot, but I think you got to limit it in the lineup builders because you're going to get too much Dallas otherwise.
I was thinking like don't play Markkanen and just Markkanen in this game, but you're going to play probably at least one or two Mavs most likely. If he's in the utility spot, Keontae George is cheaper. So, this is DK obviously, but just be aware because it's an hour and we might get news on Markkanen at 7:30. We might not get news at all. He might just play, which is weird, but that might be the situation. By the way, Pacers lineup, Quentin Jackson starting. I see Kyle at work. I see your brain working, Kyle. Quentin Jackson, Naismith, Furphy, Pascal, and Huff. Chat's asking why is McConnell not starting. We didn't really expect that. Like I don't think we expected that. Or maybe not. Typically he doesn't play, but doesn't start. But do you want to speak on that, Kyle? Any sort of thoughts? Your first thoughts when it comes to Quentin Jackson?
No, we kind of thought it was either going to be Jackson or Shepard. I was leaning Jackson because of the fact that he's a more natural ball handler. But the more interesting thing is Colin Sexton is starting and LaMelo Ball is not. So that's interesting.
Back to back, and they're limiting his minutes. But like, if either play the guy or don't, the half measures is nonsense. But continue.
Yeah, I feel like the Wemby thing when he was coming off the bench kind of started a new trend with teams. Like they probably realize that maybe that makes some sense to where they can pick their minutes rather than start them and not necessarily waste minutes at the beginning of each half, and they can more strategically play these guys where they want to. But I certainly think this mixes up some things with Charlotte. I think it makes Brandon Miller a little bit better from a usage perspective. Same with Knipple. And then you also have to worry about, a potential 20, 21-minute game from LaMelo Ball rather than him playing that 25, 26 minutes. So I think that opens up a little bit more of volatility with LaMelo and helps Brandon Miller and Knipple a bit.
Is that where you're going? Like 22, 23 for Ball, 24?
I went down to 24 on Ball because I don't want to go too high on Sexton. So it's going to be like 23 minutes for Colin Sexton or 23 and a half minutes for Sexton and then 24 for LaMelo. But I would say the range of outcomes on LaMelo feels like anywhere from like 20 to like probably from 21 to like 26 minutes, I would say. Because they could still play him the 26 minutes just off the bench.
Yeah.
But that seems odd to make that change when they've been doing that as a starter anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be 23 and a half for Sexton and 24 for LaMelo Ball in this update that's coming right now.
I hear people like speculate the reason why teams are doing this, like to get their players to 65 games,
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
And like maybe that's part of it, but it's just, which by the way, if that's the reason, like maybe that rule maybe we should throw that out. That's not working out for the purpose of that. Chad, by the way, is saying McConnell is starting. He's not starting unless something has changed. I'm not seeing McConnell starting. I'm seeing Quentin Jackson, Furphy, Naismith, Pascal, and Huff. Kyle, are you able to give me some analysis on Dallas and Utah?
Yeah, I think for Dallas, obviously on the Anthony Davis side, the chalk stuff is interesting. We just got Ace Bailey out, so we'll probably get the marketing news here in a minute as well, or the Nurkic news. But for AD, I think obviously he's chalk. We've talked about it a little bit. He's a great play. He projects to be by far the best spend up option on the board. But if you're someone that wants to, lean into some variance and especially in tournaments, I mean, Chop hyped up Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag projects almost similarly for me to Anthony Davis on a per minute or on a point per dollar perspective. So if you're not playing AD, it almost makes sense to maybe fade him and then play 3, 4, maybe even 5 of these Dallas guys, because there's a lot of really good value on Dallas. So you can maybe hope for a mediocre or a bad game from AD. Obviously, we don't want to bring the injury stuff into consideration, but it happens with AD. He leaves for paper cuts and stuff like that all the time. So if that's the case, that could also be a potential thing to factor in from a game theory perspective. On the Utah side, I would be building without Nurkic, and that's the way I would be kind of approaching things. That would make Kevin Love look a lot better, bringing Filipowski in to play a little bit more. So all those things is where I'm at with that game.
Okay, again, reminder, get in that Discord channel. That's where your questions will be prioritized. RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Last Optimal I ran, and this stuff is getting updated, obviously. It's pretty funny. It had three players on Indy and 5 on Dallas. The next one, that's DK, obviously. You can't get 5 on FanDuel. Next one was 4 Dallas, 2 Charlotte, Bam, and McConnell. So, yeah, you could still get a lot of Mavs. I was thinking I don't run 150, but if I did that, I'd probably put in a rule to have either Flag or Davis, one of them, at least one on every lineup I make. I feel pretty good about one of those guys getting home, one of those guys getting there. All right. Let's circle back and do a position by position. If we can combine sites just to make it easier. We want to get questions from the chat as well. We did the breakdown a little bit longer than typical, but yeah, Chop, we're going to go position by position. Let's use the standard as DK. If there's anything different, anything of note, somebody's distinctly cheaper over there, distinctly more expensive over there, note FanDuel. But otherwise, we're assuming we're talking about DK and FanDuel as well, right? At the same time. But Chop, give me your favorite point guards on the slate.
Yeah. So favorite point guards on the slate, kind of talked about for raw points, Keontae George. And for me now with the news, favorite point per dollar is TJ McConnell. And yeah, I guess I'm going to lump in Tyler Hero into point guards. I think he's a good GPP option. Those are the guys I'd highlight.
We have Jackson, by the way, and this is Kyle. He's projecting pretty good. 24 minutes, 22 fantasy points. When you consider he's 3-1 on DK. Is he going to now hit stuff? Is he hitting stuff? Is that a good enough GP for you? Talk to me about point guards, Kyle.
Yeah, I haven't ran any lineups yet with that projection updated, but yeah, he looks pretty good. He's always been a decent per minute guy. 23.5 minutes is where we have him, so he's showing at 24 in lineup HQB rounds up. But yeah, right around 0.9 DK points per minute, 3-1. The minutes is a little bit volatile, I will say, because you do have Cam Jones and Ethan Thompson behind him who could maybe get some minutes away, and obviously TJ McConnell as well. So hard to see him playing any more than 24, 25 minutes or so. But with him starting, that does give him a decent floor. But the Pacers also haven't been a team to necessarily shy away from doing weird things in game. So that's worth noting. But at 3-1, you at least feel like you can deal with maybe some bad volatility in terms of minutes and have him still get there at 3-1.
It does feel a little bit fragile. Chances he closes less than 50%?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel too. But you might not. Again, he might be cheap enough where he can still get you there.
Yep.
Okay. Did you finish as far as point guards in general? Anything you want to add to what Chop had to say, or do you want to jump to shooting guards?
No, nothing really to add. We touched on the majority of those guys already. I think I did give Sexton a little bit of a bump in terms of minutes, so he went up another minute or so, maybe a minute and a half. So he looks pretty good. So shooting guards, you have a couple of interesting. Obviously, I touched on the Dallas side and how I'm playing it, and that's leading me to a good amount of guys like Christie and Klay Thompson. The Jazz also allow a ton of 3-point attempts and actually the most 3-point makes per game, so that sets up well for guys like Klay and Christie. And Klay's obviously been playing more as of late. Played 27 minutes last game. I think he took 11 or 12 shots. Yeah, 12 shots, 8 threes. What's that?
He missed a lot of them too.
Yeah, he's going to miss a lot of them, that's for sure. But if he gets, we certainly know that Klay Thompson can get hot. And at 3-9, especially on DraftKings, or 3-9 on FanDuel, but especially on DraftKings where he gets that 3-point bonus, it doesn't look too bad there. And then Quentin Jackson is shooting guard only on FanDuel 3.6. He does project pretty well for me.
Can you jump to small forward for me?
Yep. Dallas and Chicago guys I like quite a bit. Chicago, similar to Dallas guys, it's a really good 3-point matchup. So I would not be surprised to see one of these guys get randomly hot from 3, Buzelis, Okoro. Even if you wanted to get, if you felt like throwing up in your mouth and playing Patrick Williams, you could also maybe make a case for him getting hot from 3. He's really good from the corner, which is Miami allows the most corner 3 attempts per game. But that's a 150 build type play, so not going too crazy there. And then obviously you have some of the more spend up options here. Cooper Flag, one of my favorite plays on the board. Markkanen it seems like a guy that maybe people are writing off across the board, so could play him at maybe some lower ownership. So those are the spend up options here.
Running some optimal stuff. We're getting both McConnell and Jackson in cash lineups. They're hitting a lot of my optimals. So do what you want in tournaments. But it looks like those guys are going to be fairly popular, at least in cash lineups, if nothing else. Chop, thoughts as far as, shooting guard?
Shooting guard, I would say my favorite spin up, Anthony Edwards, my favorite value, Najee Marshall, and my favorite GPP, Norman Powell.
Small forward, Chop?
I'm going to go with the same format and say my favorite spin up is Cooper Flag. My favorite value is Aaron Neesmith. And my favorite just raw GPP, maybe you get the high upside game, Ayu DeSumo.
So Anthony Edwards officially available for Minnesota. Kyle, small forward?
I think I did small forward, but I can jump to power forward if that's what we want to do.
Yes.
Okay. I mentioned obviously AD. He's obviously the de facto spend up option. And if you want to play the chalky option and get different elsewhere, you can do that. I'll have some of him, but me personally, I think the way I like to build today is really prioritizing Cooper Flag and then using a couple of other ancillary Dallas options. I love Siakam in this spot. His usage rate goes up to 31% with no Nembhard, no Mathurin on the floor. So again, if you're not playing AD, spend up a little bit in that 8K range there with Siakam. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate. Still like Randall a little bit with no Anthony Edwards, but I think I would prefer to prioritize guys like Pascal Siakam and then even Bam in this great matchup. And then to your point, if Khalil Ware does end up coming off the bench, that only helps Bam from a rebounding perspective. So he would be someone that I would even increase my interest in a bit more if Ware's coming off the bench. And then value guys, Buzelis at 6.5 on FanDuel, not necessarily a value, but a guy who I do think has a good point per dollar projection. That's pretty much it for me at power forward.
Ownership was just updated on Lineup HQ, so give it a refresh if you guys are waiting for ownership stuff. Obviously, new news coming on through, so the team working hard on that. So just hit refresh on Lineup HQ. You get yourself a new batch of ownership. Chop, power forward. What do you got?
Yeah, so I think my favorite spin up, Dean, for raw points is Evan Mobley. And if I'm playing the value game and I'm looking for a guy who I think is a little bit underpriced that could exceed that, I'm going with Buzelis from Chicago. And then in GPPs, somebody that could just blow away the price tag, I'm going to go with Miles Bridges. I'm going to save Anthony Davis for my center spot.
Well, go for it. Talk about some centers. Talk about Davis.
Favorite spin up, Anthony Davis by a mile for just raw points and all that good stuff. Value play is going to be Diabate from Charlotte. And, GPP could exceed by a wide margin. Bam Adebayo. And there's other guys, Rudy Gobert I think is interesting. Vooch is kind of interesting, but those three I listed are my favorites at that position.
Again, if you have questions, I'm going to do my best to get to the YouTube ones. Write them on YouTube. If you don't want to jump in the Discord channel, you get prioritized in Discord. That's rotogrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. Kyle, finish us off here with the centers.
Yep. I feel like we've spoken on AD enough to where, my opinion on him is the same. He's the optimal type center play. But if you are building lineups, you want to get a little bit different. That's how I would approach it with, prioritizing Flag. But if you're also doing that, you have obviously a little bit more salary. Guys like Vooch, Bam, who I'm sort of hoping that Khalil Ware comes off the bench, because if that's the case, I would end up liking Bam quite a bit more. And then I've touched on the centers in the Minnesota and Cleveland game. I like Gobert and Jared Allen. I think that this is a spot where see maybe a little bit of a minutes boost for both of those guys. And then the two de facto value pieces are also center. Jay Huff does have power forward center eligibility, but I like him. He's starting again at 4-2, and then Moose there at 5-2, also like him. And then the one contrarian value piece that I do think is somewhat interesting is Daniel Gafford here at 4-3, especially if Nurkic is out, which that is kind of where we're leaning. He would end up being just a spot where he's going to have quite a bit of mismatches in terms of rebounding. Obviously, they're going to have Kevin Love, Filipowski, who Gafford would have quite a nice size advantage on, coming off of one of his best games of the year. Last time out, played 23 minutes, had 10 and 13 against the Kings. So Gafford is also a guy who I like in tournaments, especially if you're not playing AD.
All right, questions in chat. This is for Chop. Jim Parrish wants to know, Chop, Mobley and fade AD on DraftKings and tournaments. That's the only way to be different.
That'll get you different. Oh man, I'm not doing it, but yeah, there's no reason on a 4-game slate. I can't sit here and tell you that's a bad play at all. It's a GPP, and it's good. It's fine because Anthony Davis is going to be so highly owned, and you're always more than any other player in the league. If you get a guy 75% more than any other player in the league, you got that extra out of he's going to the locker room. That's it for him more than anybody else. So I'm sure in GPP, that's fine, man.
By the way, like Daniel Gafford probably goes to the locker room more than Anthony Davis. We just don't acknowledge that. He goes a lot. He gets hurt a lot.
Man, no.
I don't know who's
I can't. No.
Okay. Achilles wants to know, Kyle, DK Cash, 2v2, Pascal and Huff the Magic Dragon, or Neesmith and Brandon Miller?
First one.
I got a couple more cash questions for you. I'm going to stick with you, Kyle. Bam. Oh, this is a 3v3. Bam, Najee, Neesmith, Christie, Pascal, Diabate.
For cash, the second one.
Cash one more time. This is Swag with Chris. FanDuel Cash 2v2. Couple Bulls. Ayu and Buzelis versus Pascal and Jackson.
I'll take the Pacers side there, Pascal and Jackson.
Chop, Casey Douglas wants to know, DK tournaments, 4,400 left, shooting guard. We got Christie or Sexton?
4,400?
Yes, sir.
Shooting guard, Christie or Sexton. Everything tells you to play Christie. Is it a GPP? If it's a GPP, I'm going Sexton.
Yes.
If it's a cash game, I'm going Christie. But I go Sexton in GPP. It's similar projection, a whole lot more ownership for Christie.
This doesn't say if it's tournaments or not, but I'll ask Kyle. Huff and Williams versus Q-Jacks and Naismith. Is that Patrick Williams or Brandon Williams? Brandon Williams, I think. You're on mute, Kyle.
Sorry, it's what? So it's who and Williams, and then
Huff and Williams versus Q-Jacks and Naismith.
I'll take the second side.
By the way, at 7:00 after lock, we might give away a couple of those player props so we get enough likes. I'm not sure what the threshold is, but hit that like button as we're asking those questions. Chop, D-Rock wants to know, DK tournaments, if Ware starts, Bam or Bridges?
It's tournament, Bridges.
Let's see. Jay Sam says, Kyle, do you think it's safe to build as if Nurk is out?
Safe, maybe not 100% safe, but I mean, I would say I feel like it's 75% chance that Nurk sits, maybe even a little bit more. So that's how I would be building it. But also you do have a little bit of flexibility because you have some guys in that late game with all the Dallas options that you can also maneuver with. So just keep that in mind.
Let me stick with you, Kyle. Can you play, Tess wants to know, can you play Jackson and TJ together? Will they overlap? Does it matter? Are they cheap enough where you can get away with playing both?
Honestly, they probably won't share too much time on the floor. So you can certainly play both.
Yeah. I know they were hitting optimals, both of them, but it's just kind of I assume it's more of a tournament question. Wasn't specified. Chop Beaner wants to know, Huff or Gafford? Gafford, FanDuel tournaments. Huff or Gafford?
Tournaments, give me Gafford.
All right, taking a peek here at the YouTube frequency. Pick one of these three, Kyle. Frequency wants Sexton, TJ McConnell, or Williams for Dallas.
I'm going to go with McConnell.
Ant is in. Chop Paul Hauser wants to know, Randall or Pascal?
If you're talking to me, it's Pascal.
Kyle Stevens got a question for you. Brandon Williams or Christie DK tournaments?
Give me slight edge to Christie.
Lippy's got a question for Chop. Can we just fade AD because I'm going to anyway? Okay.
Well, I mean, if you're going to, it's GPPs. I don't want to keep saying the same thing, but you can do anything as long as you're not missing the projection or anything by like so much that you're killing yourself. And fading AD he's just one player on a 4-game slate that's 75% owned probably. Yeah, you can fade him, man, and hope at the very least, at the very worst case scenario, he just kind of makes his value and doesn't bury you. And then the rest can pick up. So yeah, you can fade him in the tournament.
Forgive me, I'm asking too late. Give me the plums, Chop.
Plums play of the night for me, going off the radar. I'm going Miles Bridges.
Plums, Kyle?
Cooper Flag.
Like that call. Darren wants to know, Kyle, FanDuel, Mitchell or Ant?
Ant.
Chop, DK, McConnell or Christie?
McConnell.
Let's see. Jack says any Porter if Garland's out. Kyle, what do we get out of Porter if we lose Garland?
He would get a decent minutes bump, and we saw him perform really well even alongside Garland and Mobley last game. So with Garland out, we get Porter to 26 minutes, about 22 DK. So what's his price is 4.3, so he's a little bit more expensive. I would still probably prefer guys like McConnell and even some of those Dallas guys that are cheap. So I think he'd be a better play, and he'd be low owned. He'd be probably too low owned because of the Pacers game locking, but still a decent play.
2v2 Chop. Mike Smokes 420. Huff and Knipple versus Buzelis and Christie.
Oh God. I'll take the Buzelis side.
Let's see. Trying to find some more questions. Is it okay to leave 1,500 on FanDuel cash, Kyle?
Ooh.
Seems like a lot for basketball.
Yeah, in basketball, I typically say try to fill up as much of that salary as possible. There's a lot of good value, but I would still probably say it's too much.
I mean, I'm looking at the optimals, and all like the first 7 or 8 or 9 for FanDuel are leaving like $200 at most, $300 at most. Some are hitting the the 60K threshold. So I would say probably you're missing something. We are at the bell. It is 7:00 lock. Is there any other questions that I may have missed? Let's see. Kyle, do you think you can play Kyle and Love together since they are so cheap? On FanDuel, yeah. Can you play? We didn't really talk about the if-then a ton about Filipowski. He's 5'4" on DK. On FanDuel, he is 5'5". And again, it's possible. We still think it's possible Nurkic and Markkanen could not play. We think that's possible. And both those guys aren't playing. I imagine Filipowski would project well, but of course we have to project Markkanen in now. Could you play both? What's Love's price? 4-1. Could you play Love and Filipowski together? I guess it'd have to be both Markkanen and Nurkic out to consider that.
To play both of them, well, I mean, it also comes down to the fact that if you are, preparing for that news, maybe you have to play those guys if you're building that game so heavily. But if we just get Nurkic out, I would probably just prefer whichever one is starting. But yeah.
Somebody asked, I guess, been in stress. Somebody asked, why is Davis projected so well? I mean, he averages 1.4 fantasy points per minute. PJ Washington's not playing basketball tonight, and
what's going on here?
I just put that comment back up. Yeah,
what's going on, J3? Listen, I made one joke to J3 a month ago. He's not letting it go, man. That was in 2025, J3. We had to let those things go, man.
Did you make fun of his Washington teams? What'd you do?
No, he asked what I was doing because I was on a show where I was doing projections or something like that, and I made a mom joke. So that is on me. I will say that, but the chat seemed to like it, so he should take solace in that.
Maybe could correct. I know dad jokes. I'm aware of dad jokes. What are mom jokes? Your mom. Your mom is so fat, that kind of thing.
No, I was like,
what's a mom joke?
He asked what was taking my attention. I said his mom was taking my attention.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah,
he
might carry a chip on his shoulder for a while with that one.
I think a month is fair.
No, I don't think so. I've never appreciated those jokes. when they're directed at me. No.
I would never direct it at you, Chop. Don't worry.
Well, maybe you can go to HR with Kirkwood.
Maybe we can do a reboot of the Wilmer Valderrama, Yo Mama show.
That was called. It wasn't called Yo Mama, was it? It was called. Oh man, I don't remember. I know what you're talking about, but it was just not specific. Yeah, somebody in chat let us know what was the Wilmer Valderrama show. That's off the air, right? I assume. Was it called Yo Mama? I don't think so.
Been off the air for like 2 decades, Dean.
It was
Yo Mama. Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
I wasn't a regular viewer. Yeah, all right. Yeah, famously from that 70s show. Well, he's available if you want to reboot it. I imagine he's available.
Yeah, you know who's not available from that 70s show?
I do know, and we shouldn't get
that
into
one guy who got convicted of like multiple rapes.
Yes, we're not going to.
Redheaded kid, yeah.
Definitely not available.
He's not doing no Yo Mama show. He's doing some stuff, but he's not doing Yo Mama shows.
All right. Kyle, you want to give the people a couple props? I promised them some props. You want to give them some props before we step aside and get out of here?
Yeah. What I kind of mentioned, you might have a few minutes to put it. I don't know where the line's at now, but Aaron Nesmith, I took the under 21.5 points and assists. That, for what's worth, that was before the Nemhard news, but I still have him projected for just 19.5 points and assists. So I would still like the under. It looks like some books have it down to 19.5 or 20.5. Also took Donovan Mitchell under 36.5 points and assists. Tough matchup from there against Minnesota. And lastly, I took Max Christie, guy we've talked about a lot tonight, over 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Today years old, I just found out. I had no idea. Do you guys know Wilmer Valderrama has been on NCIS since 2016? He's been in 190 episodes. I never watched that show or CSI.
This is Fez, right?
He's been on NCIS for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Are you a viewer? You're not old enough to watch that. You got to be at least 60, I think, to watch NCIS.
No, sure. But I've seen it here and there. So I was a big That 70s show a few years back. So yeah, I've done my research.
I didn't know that. I had no idea. Good for him. All right. Chop, big NCIS guy?
No, not at all.
I've never seen any of the initials. I'm pretty much out. CSI. There's other ones too. I've not seen any of the Chicago shows.
Chicago PD, I was a big fan of.
That's a good one. Okay.
Yep. Well, Sophia Bush drew me to the show, and then the show itself kept me. So yeah.
All right. The Rookie is being touted in chat by producer Steve. I've not seen that. I'm aware of it, but I think it's like a 40-year-old guy becomes a cop.
Yeah, it's the guy from Castle.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I also will co-sign that one. That's a good one.
I watch very little of the network TV stuff. Chop, you got any props to the people before we step aside and get out of here? Anything else you want to let the people know before we leave?
For the college footsies, footsies that are kicking off here in 25 minutes. I didn't think about it too much, but if you had to twist my arm and say, who's the Ole Miss wide receiver to have tonight? And they spread it around a lot, so you're kind of picking. I'm going to say Dejon Stribling is the leading wide receiver. You probably get a pretty decent prop on him. And Miami, I think their game plan is 100% going to be to try to run Mark Fletcher as much as possible. So Mark Fletcher, anytime touchdown, if it's decent odds, or fantasy points, or even the yardage prop. I think that's the way Miami attacks. So whatever you want to do with that.
Larry Nance officially in. That doesn't matter a heck of a lot, but Garland officially in for Cleveland. Do we want to ask J3? Do we want to appease J3, Kyle?
Yes, please.
Do we want to ask Mr. Predicto if the Hurricanes win tonight? We can ask that. He says, bring back Mr. Predicto. I got it right here. We can fire it up. 50% accuracy, give or take. So we can fire it up. You guys can know if the Hurricanes are going to win or not. All right, we'll see if Chop is right. We got to wake it up. Hold on a second. Oh, wait. It's going to light up in a second. I swear.
You need the batteries in that thing?
Do the Hurricanes win tonight?
Definitely, yes.
Resounding.
Not even like on the fence. Now, I should have asked if they cover. That's the more important question, if they cover. But
we might lose Michael Irvin at some point here.
That's one reason to root for Miami. All the Michael Irvin sideline stuff. He's spectacular. Incredible quote guy. I said he should be in every documentary going forward. Any documentary, get a quote from Michael Irvin. Just put him in there. But, all right, that's the show. Appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like button your way out. That was Kyle. That was Chop. I was Dean. Win some money tonight. We're out of here. Oh,